Turn here on the Spot on Sports podcast. Very, very funny thing happened earlier this week. And I'm not even going to say funny because I think anytime a player is very successful, it's always a good thing. But if you guys see the lower third below, Bam Adebayo. Yep, Bam Adebayo scored the second most points in a game all time. Right behind Wilt's Where is the Footage Chamberlain's 100 points, and ahead of Kobe Bryant. Uh, I gotta say, social media has been in a flurry between whether to give a guy like Bam, who's a great two-way player, by the way, great two-way player, not a guy that averages above 25 points, exactly who you would call a shooter of shooters, right? A la Steph Curry and other guys in the league, but he's Bam Adebayo. And no one wants to give him his just due credit because he's not a guy that you would ever think would score beyond 40, 50 points in a game. Returning back on the show, Andrea Richmond to join me to, talk about how, why, what the hell happened, and is this even legit for Bam Adebayo to have scored beyond 80 points in a National Basketball Associated game? Uh, when we look at Bordy, when we look at X, Twitter, whichever one you want to call it these days,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to explain Bam Adebayo 83 points in a different term, be it NFL or something like that, and people, it's akin to this random guy, or we could take Malik Willis, or whoever is the NFL comparison to Bam Adebayo in the league, and them throwing for over 5,000 yards or running for 300, or doing something like this. Why is Bam Adebayo receiving all of this flack for scoring 83 points in a basketball game?
And man, and I'm glad you actually brought up that comparison towards like a random NFL player. They're acting like Bam is over here like Matt Flynn's 6 touchdown game against the Packers a couple of years ago, right? When Matt Flynn did it for the Packers, I apologize, against the Lions a couple years ago. Bam Adebayo is a very good two-way player. We're seeing clips now matriculate from certain people like Malik Beasley, who was Michael Beasley, I apologize, who said this guy could wreak havoc one on one, but I don't think anybody imagined that Bam, of all players, maybe Luca, maybe Steph, would break this barrier and threshold. Uh, I'm not even sure if his girlfriend, Asia Wilson, probably could have believed that he would have done that. But now that power couple owns uh, the active record holding for points in the game per that couple. It's interesting because I was recording live when that happened, so I wasn't able to see it in real time. But I remember as soon as we got off air, I was checking Twitter. This is a typo. There's no way that Bam of all players would have gone off for 83. But you talk about the fact he was hot early on, and much to do is about whether or not it was legitimate or not. And I feel like that's from a certain fan base of people that he ended up passing in one Kobe being Bryant. But all the respect in the world to him. The points are the points. If you looked at that game, the fouls that he earned were actually earned. The Wizards had no idea how to stop him. And in this NBA, of course, like there's increased pace. So I get that it can be a little bit hard for us to wrap our head around. But like if somebody's on a heater and the coach allows him to go on a heater like we have seen right now with Spolter, he wanted him to get that record. It's obviously very possible. Bam's an amazing player. I wouldn't have thought that he would be the player to end up breaking Kobe, but you know, amazing things happen, and you can't tell me that he didn't steal Asia Wilson's powers in some way because that's the only way. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, that's your girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
for whatever reason she blesses your game and you come out, and something happened, the day before, last night, whatever that case is, and you come out and you drop 80 points, I think more power to you. Now, let's talk about everything that went wrong with the Wizards and why this was allowed, because 43 of those points came at the free throw line. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And for every single foul thing that was happening that allowed Bam to score this many points. First of all, that should never happen for any NBA player to come in. And let's remember this, because I know people are going to put an asterisk on Bam Adebayo getting this many points. When the time that Kobe did it, it was deliberately known that he would come into that game and every single offensive possession went to Kobe Bryant for a reason, for him to just score as many points as he wanted to. Nobody is willingly going out into an NBA game and saying I'm dropping 80 tonight purposely. Like, and it was purpose for Kobe, but purpose in the fact that it was meant for him to score as many points as he could. Kobe didn't go out and just had
Yeah.
the game of his life and drop 80 points. That's not what happened. It honestly was a lot less intentional for Bam Adebayo to come out and drop 83 points. He didn't
Yeah.
ask the Wizards to, hey guys, bring me to the foul line X amount of times and allow me to drop 43. And then on top of that, I'm going to drop another 30 something points, which is a lot more valuable, right? And
Yeah.
instead, I ended up with 83, in total, where Kobe had to shoot, and then it was a joke. I remember being around one of my guys, Zakari, his family, before, and his cousin was like, Kobe got 81 because he shot the ball 108 times. That was
Yo.
that was he did. He shot the ball a lot, but Bam wasn't trying to get 83 points. Bam didn't wake up like,
No.
oh yeah, I'm a part of the offensive continuity. That's why in the next game over, and we're going to play that piece right now where he left that game with 22 points because Celtics head coach says, you made Doka says, we just played. We just played.
Yeah.
He wasn't a part of this overall game plan that we had to stop him. But let's listen though to Bam Adebayo's reaction the next game over.
Uh, for the couch coaches, I mean, if you're in my shoes and you have, first of all, y'all are blaming me. You should be blaming the head coach. Get that first. I was not the one letting me go 1-on-1 the whole game until I had 70. Then you started to send a double. At that point, I got 70 with like what 9 minutes left to go in the game. You think I'm not going for it? Like, like, and that's the thing that's crazy when they talk about the unethical part of the basketball. I'm like, if I have 70 with 9 minutes to go, who would just be like, coach, just take me out? Yeah, right. Anybody in my shoes with 9 minutes left? Okay, a minute. All right, 9. Yeah, I'm going for it. You can't be mad at that. If you are mad, I don't care, because a lot of people, they're upset because if they did play, they never had a chance to get that close to chasing greatness. And then if you get that close to chasing greatness, that's the point of chasing it, so you can surpass it. And some of the people have never played basketball, so like if you've been in the backyard and you and a couple of your homies have been playing 21 and you got 19, you're not gonna get an easy look off. And they're gonna talk about the free throws. It's not like I shoot 15 free throws a game. It's not like I average 10 free throws a game. You can watch the film, I was legitimately getting fouled every time. So I went to the free throw line.
So obviously, it's easy to say that the Wizards are totally to blame for Bam Adebayo's terrific night, but he had a lot of great points there where people are just upset because it's not Steph Curry, it's not Dame Dollar, it's not LeBron, and
Come
that's
on.
okay. Like it's Bam, and no, I think the greatest thing about sports sometimes is when the player that is so unwarranted for it to happen to, it happens.
Yeah.
Before the other night, what bad thing did you have to say, Andrea, about Bam Adebayo? Nothing. Who
No.
wouldn't kill to have Bam Adebayo on their team? Nobody, because he has
Right.
something to give wherever he is. And sometimes the basketball guys or the sports guys, whoever you want to call them, just blesses this random guy to
Come
do a
on.
great thing. Did that not happen in the Super Bowl with New England and the Giants and David Tyree? catches the ball on his head and then writes a book about it. Like it just happens. Sometimes that's the one guy just has an opportunity to be the guy in that moment, and now his name is etched in history as a player that just happens to have the second most points scored all time in an NBA game. And it just so happens to be past one of the top five, or so we say, top five players ever to have played the game in Kobe Bryant. Now, I'm not saying that I would hope Kobe would be proud. You
Yeah.
hope so, but it's not. It's
Hope
not.
so.
It's certainly not indicative to Kobe to where, hey man, he again there was no intention that he was going to drop 83 points that the other night. He didn't ask
No.
the Wizards to help me out here. The Wizards played poor basketball, and that
Very
allowed
bad.
Bam Adebayo on every single foul to score points, and Bam answered the call, and he's right. With 9 minutes to go left in the game, and I got 70 points. Why am I not trying to break the record?
If you can do it, why wouldn't you? Would anybody else? Oh man, and journalists embarrass themselves. The cult of Kobe embarrassed themselves the other night. O'Shea Jackson, and then of course I think it was either an Atlantic or Athletic writer that said that Bam Adebayo should have put the basketball down instead of scoring the last two of the 83 points in order to honor Kobe Bryant. Get that crap out of there. The very last words that Kobe Bryant posted on his Twitter was actually acknowledging the fact that just because LeBron James at the time passed Kobe in all-time points in the NBA doesn't mean that you should slander LeBron. Kobe was all about pushing the game forward, right? His last couple tweets were actually pushing the game forward with Allen Iverson, with Kobe, with Alana Beard, who's a longtime WNBA player. He's all about pushing the game forward. And for somebody like Bam Adebayo, he's not actually some of the more random people that we've seen drop buckets in the NBA. Of course, it matters when you're top three all time in single game points. Obviously, who would have thought Bam to be in that possession? But for people to act like, again, you talked about Kobe taking so many shots. The game is actually online. I believe that whole second half is online of Kobe's 82-point game. You saw in the third, at halftime, he only had what, 26, 27 points. In the third quarter, he got hot, but in that fourth quarter, he was chucking the ball like crazy. I've had a lot of Kobe fans say, oh, he's not really chucking like that if you look at his efficiency. No, he was chucking the ball. You talked about the prelude. Nobody talks about the prelude to that game where reporters were talking about how Kobe wasn't scoring any points and he had gone on a tear, I believe, that January beforehand. But when Ghost, I think like the 2 games prior to, then decided to purposely go out and score 82 to get back at those reporters for having poor shooting performances in a time, by the way, in Kobe, in which that team, we knew that Kobe was trying to MVP chase and trying to point chase because that Lakers squad was not as stacked as previous and honestly later Lakers squad. With Bam, it just kind of happened. Kobe, he had a goal in mind. He was chasing something. Bam, it literally just happened. He ended up with, at halftime, 40 something points and decided, let's go, let's chase it, right? So sometimes you go on a heater. Klay Thompson didn't expect to hit all those points against the Kings. There were plenty of times, even Luka's performances, where he scored 70, D-Book 70. They didn't plan it, it just happened. All these people trying to discredit Bam, all these people trying to prop up Kobe and say it's not legitimate, gives off more hating, saying it's a disgrace to the game, saying it's unethical. Ain't nothing unethical about putting a ball through that hoop. It's not like he's over here getting James Harden or Trae Young fouls, right? Where he's manufacturing it. Look at those fouls. The Wizards literally couldn't stop him. 3, 4 guys chasing after him, too, trying to double team him. They just could not stop the guy because he was on that much of a heater. So
He's on that much of
anybody
a
that talks about unethical, anybody that talks about the free throw percentage, anybody that talks about shooting and chucking cannot talk about that without talking about Kobe, and for the intentional fouls as well. I know that's a conversation. Towards the end, the Wizards did intentionally foul, or Miami did intentionally foul to help Bam get the points. The same thing happened to Wilt Chamberlain. And you know what's funny, Tony? Even back the day, you had players who were on that team. I believe it was the Knicks that Wilt Chamberlain was going against when he won 100. They were talking about how fraudulent it was that he ended up getting 100 points because they were intentionally fouling him. So, hey, guess what? About 50 years have passed, but ain't things changed in the discourse game, man.
Nothing has changed. They did it to Wilt, they did it to Bam, and heck, even there were questions about Kobe. But I
Yeah.
think it's probably no question that if yeah, I think it's where you can say it's true. If a guy like Bam Adebayo can score 83 points, then Wilt Chamberlain probably did it. For
Right.
some reason though, there's no tape. Your grandparents not talking about it. Your great grandparents, if they lived long enough, didn't tell you anything about it. So nobody's really sure Wilt actually did. Now they can say that the folks burned the footage because they didn't want, they didn't want no man like Wilt out there, dropping more
Right.
points on the people, which is
You
fine.
know?
Okay, okay, sure. But I don't want, by way of free throws, I don't want Bam to be discredited because I think he's such a great guy. I think he's a great
Mhm.
basketball player. That somebody like him should be, spit on for they're doing what needed to be done. Again, this
Mhm.
wasn't anything that was intentional. Nobody would have ever thought that he'd have to go up to the free throw line that many times. I'm sure he didn't get up and think that either. Nobody on
No.
the Wizards team would probably play as piss poor as they did for him to get that many points. But here we are. It's happened, and his name is etched in stone forever. So we salute you, Bam. I think
Bam
it's
out of the
great
bayou,
that
baby.
yeah, I think that's awesome, man. I think that's awesome. Shout out to Aja for wearing the hunted Bam and the the snake emoji
Yeah.
shirt to represent her man, and then Bam still goes out there and has a great night. The game after with with 20 some points as he's normally average. He's been playing great this season. So
Mhm.
big shouts out to Bam. Gordy, thank you for an awesome episode. It's been really great
Absolutely, my
talking some
friend.
free agency with you and being able to talk about some NBA. Shout out to our producer Jalen Johnson for putting all this together with the awesome graphics and everything. My people, it is a new wave of sports that is sweeping the nation. We're not just accurate, but we are spot on. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, drop us a like. We definitely appreciate that. We'll be back with another episode soon.